You have the Eastern Conference play-in tournament. The Pacers host the Hornets. Coverage begins 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio. Then you have the Celtics and the Wizards for the 7th seed. That's at 9 Eastern. Also on ESPN Radio, the loser of that game takes on the winner of Pacers Hornets. That'll be for the 8th seed, and you can hear all the play-in games this week on ESPN Radio. SportsCenter brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. It's time for some Straight Talk. Cutting your wireless bill in half feels good. Home run in the ninth, good. Straight Talk offers 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys on America's best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
Where are you on the play-in tournament?
I want to see these games.
There's a little randomness.
I don't see the point of that.
The play-in tournament is a great idea.
Whoever came up with that need to be fired.
Well, what do you think about the play-in tournament?
I like the opportunity.
Bridges! Oh my God! Oh baby, what a play! Let's go!
Let the chips fall where they may. We're ready to go.
They're ready now. Are you ready now? The play-in tournament begins tonight. Keyshawn, J. Will, Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests join us on the Goodyear Hotline. Alan Hahn in for Zubin.
I'm just laughing because now I'm thinking about every kid that is going into their high school or grammar school is going, like, if you're the star player, like on your JV team, you're like, look, hey, John, I'm going to need your locker right now. You're next to me. I'm just going to need 2 lockers. I'm going to be a 2-locker guy.
I'm a 2-locker guy.
I'm a 2-locker guy now.
I was thinking also how many, like, again, Jags, just a guy like me, like, sitting in their car listening to the show, and they're like, I think I'm a 2-locker guy.
Yeah,
like,
I should be a 2-locker guy.
Like,
yeah.
you almost like
I'm a
getting
2-cubicle guy. Give me 2 cubicles, please.
Cubicle guy.
Oh, if you're pushing the
I'm gonna
numbers,
need to take that wall down.
You deserve 2 cubicles.
if you're pushing the numbers, you don't, the cubicle. No, man, I need the corner office with the window.
Yeah, you don't want to be too much. You don't want to ask for too much.
Yeah.
You mean if I'm the dude pushing the numbers?
Yeah,
and
but if you're working your way up from the ground floor up there, you got to take your time. It's a slow process.
It's a slow process.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay, well,
everybody can't be Keyshawn Johnson right out of the gate. You know what I mean? You got to work towards it.
It's not about that. I work toward it. I certainly work toward it. I am a diva.
Yes, you did.
Yes, and I have no problem. If you want to call me a diva, call me a diva.
Now you're okay with being a diva? The whole last segment, you were angry that we were referring to you as a diva.
Hey, but I embrace it. I don't have a problem with it. Didn't hurt me.
Flips it real quick.
Didn't hurt me. I'm happy with my career.
So that's what you should be. If you are pushing numbers at work,
Jay,
stop.
You can be a diva. The numbers don't
didn't hurt
lie.
me.
I can't.
Isn't that alphabetical, though?
It wasn't.
It looks alphabetical to me.
Should be alphabetical.
However you want to say
alphabetical.
it. Didn't hurt me. I enjoy it.
Jay, that should have been your thing. Like, wait. Jay comes before K. What are we doing here?
We should talk this through.
No, but it's just it's interesting about the whole diva conversation. People, it's. I think people look at it as a bad thing,
a negative,
But it's not, if that's what you.
Well, because if you're a diva, you're tough to deal with.
No, but that's your superpower. That's also what makes you incredible on the field or on the court. And I don't call it diva. I call it like you have superior confidence. And there's a lot of people that lack confidence.
I ooze in confidence.
A lot of people lack confidence, right? Like think about when a guy walks into a place or a person walks into a place and be like, yeah, I need that seat or I need that table. You're like, sometimes you're like, wait, who are you? Why are you talking?
Yeah, I want to be that
guy. It just sets that tone sometimes for people. It does.
That's the key. And you know what?
Sets that tone.
That's what the Celtics are missing.
Yes.
They're missing that guy.
They're missing that. Jason Tatum is that guy to a degree, but Jason Tatum isn't like raw, right? His play on the court is that, but not like.
And they need that. They need
somebody like that.
But Jay, if you don't have that raw, you're probably not going to win.
You can't fake it.
I'm just being honest with you. You just think about in basketball, if everybody has won championships, they got that raw in them.
Yeah,
they got the dog in them.
So let me ask you,
every leader on a championship team got that it in them. You ain't all that old passive. That ain't gonna get you nowhere.
I think Jason Tatum can get there. I just think he's still young in the process of doing.
You gotta have that killer, man.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Period.
Out of people like that have the raw. So we're asking on @KeyJNZ on Twitter, outside of LeBron James, who we know has the raw, right? Who has the most pressure to win an NBA championship this season? The options are James Harden, Kevin Durant, Giannis, or other. And one of the first replies we got at Cincy CTK says, LeBron, LBJ, has nothing to prove?
You really don't.
No, I don't think he does at all.
No, he really don't.
I don't think there's any pressure on LeBron.
Oh, I think there's the most pressure on LeBron, which is why we phrased it outside of LeBron.
I don't think there's pressure.
No,
The only
I
reason
don't
why
think
it's
so.
pressure on LeBron is because I'm putting the pressure on you because I need him to get the second one.
Well, you're talking about for Laker legacy.
Yeah, that's what I
That's
want.
the
I
pressure.
want him to be able
Laker
to get.
legacy.
I want him to be able to get the second one, so we could think about putting him on the other side. Of
But who would you say though? Harden, Durant, Giannis, or other? Jay.
I would go Giannis because KD and Kyrie already have 3 championships between them. Granted, people want to see KD do that in Brooklyn. I just go back to like Giannis is a 2-time MVP. Giannis, this team has gotten retooled. You got Drew Holiday. You get some other pieces there to help out this team get to the next level. I want to see if Milwaukee can actually finally close the deal and get to an Eastern Conference championship and get to a world championship because Giannis has the pieces around him.
See, I, as you would say, I disagree with Jay. I think it's KD though.
Okay.
And the reason I think it's KD because so many people dislike him. They just don't like him for what it's almost like a LeBron thing. People want to sweat KD from leaving OKC and joining Golden State and not giving him the credit for those championships, even though he was the baller on the team when they won the championships. And he leaves there with such like, oh, I'm going to prove to y'all I can do it without them. So he comes to Brooklyn, even though he partnered with Kyrie, he still left Golden State. If he'd have stayed at Golden State, they'd still be cooking and winning championships. But he had something to prove to the people, not on his burner account, but the ones that are actually out there chirping on a daily basis about what type of player he is, what type of heart does he have. So I think it's him that has more to prove than anybody in the NBA right now because of Golden State and how he left Golden State.
The only thing I say, just to provide context, he is coming off an Achilles injury.
Yeah,
So,
but
like,
people don't care about that, though, Jay. You
I know,
that.
but I hear you, but that is the reality of it. His first year, like, if you're telling me next year that everybody's healthy on that team and if they don't do it, I still think it would be a disappointment if they don't do it this year, for sure.
He don't look like his Achilles is nothing wrong to me.
No, it
Like
doesn't.
that's
I'll
one
tell
of
you what,
my
though.
that's one of my favorite players in the NBA, man. And I don't give a damn what nobody say about him when he went to Golden State. Like I tell people all the time, if I would have left a team to go join another team in football that we lost to in the AFC or NFC championship game or the Super Bowl, so what?
I hear you.
I don't give a damn.
I do want to remind you, though, Key, for the last couple of years, we've been talking about the Milwaukee Bucks as the best team in basketball. It's been
Yeah, but,
ongoing.
even though-
Hear me, though. It's been an ongoing debate every single day about will they break Golden State's record a couple of years ago with how they played at home, then the bubble, they went into the bubble because of the pandemic. That's been a constant theme with the Milwaukee Bucks.
That's true. And a constant thing with the Milwaukee Bucks have been they win a lot of games in the regular season, but we don't care about them in the postseason.
That's what I'm saying.
But
exactly.
so that ain't no pressure.
But that is pressure, though, because you want to see Giannis take his team to new heights
But I think
that he
if
hasn't been
people-
able to get
but
there to yet.
I think, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the one who covered the NBA on Countdown.
It's all good.
and
You watch a lot of hoop, too?
It seems like to me, people have kind of put him to the side now, though. Like dismissed his ability to win a championship.
It's funny.
No
I feel like we
matter
talk
who-
about the Knicks more than we talk about the Nets.
No, I'm talking about Giannis.
Talking about Giannis.
I know.
I'm talking about Giannis.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Though. Like, I feel like Brooklyn, too, it's interesting to me because I
Because
don't know if
you-
it's because they're over in Brooklyn, and I know people say,
No.
well, they get the national
No, because you
attention.
got this dude. You got this dude on the show.
it's
No,
my
I'm just
fault.
saying, like, that's how it is in New York.
No. Here's why. They played 8 games together.
Yes.
That's why.
Okay.
If they had played 58 games together, we'd be talking about them because they would probably have 50 wins in a 72
So who are you
game
taking?
season.
Who's the most pressure on?
Looking at the list that we provided, I agree with Michael Wilbon. He said this on SportsCenter last night.
If I'm going to look at a player who may be facing more of it this particular postseason, it's because he hasn't won. As great as he's been, he hasn't won. It would be James Harden. He's got the chance this postseason to completely flip that narrative. And if he's healthy, he looks like he's up to it.
And let me correct myself. Hall of Famer, Michael Wilbon. I agree with him because when you look at the list, and I'm with Key. Giannis is on a Bucks team that we know is a good team, but I've never taken them seriously as a legit championship contender. I just feel
Really?
like they're one
Really?
of those teams that's really good.
Interesting. Okay.
But when I watch them,
I do.
I'm not looking going, this team's special. Like, I just think they're really good.
They're a good team. It's
But
like,
when
oh,
you
okay.
watch the Lakers at full health, when you watch the Nets at full health, you're like, damn, like that team is like, that's legit. So that's why I feel that way. I could be wrong. They could prove me wrong this year, and it'd be great if they did for Giannis. But when I watch James Harden, especially when I watch him in a Nets jersey, I see a guy that I'm like, this guy is reaching that point of his career where it's all coming together, where the skill, the mentality, the talent, the IQ, all of it is here, and he's on a team that's got ballers, which he didn't. I mean, he had good teams in Houston, but there was always flaws on those teams, and at times he was one of the flaws.
I would say
this is, to me, his time. Win this, and now no one looks at the beard and thinks, well, you're a guy that shot too much, or you're a guy that's hard to watch. You're a guy, all that's gone now because you're a champion, and once you're a champion, Chris Kenny says this all the time, once you're a champion, you're always a champion. And that's important for a guy like James Harden and his legacy.
James Harden along with KD, though, they're 1-2-2-1 to me, like in terms of that pressure. It could be James or it could be KD. I just think the KD thing, based on how people feel about him, is a lot of pressure.
But see, I feel like that narrative is going to follow James Harden if he wins one this year anyway, because it's the same narrative that kind of followed KD, right? It's where, it took 3 of you guys to partner up.
But see, KD's narrative
to win a
is
championship.
different.
No,
he left.
KD's narrative is now, yes, but also it's interesting how, like, being around that for that time and seeing how KD and Steph, like, just the media created so many other things that happened for them as far as that relationship with Draymond, Clay.
He was
Steph.
a free agent 3 years before his contract was up.
Remember that? Automatically. You're asking, like, well, you're going to be here? Like, damn, let me enjoy the process of playing here for a year before you start asking me, I'm going to be here 3 years from
He signed
now.
on the dotted line a week later. What are you doing in 2020?
How long are you going to be here?
Oh, so you signed a short-term deal, which means you want to leave pretty soon, right? Where do you think? Oh, no, you're absolutely right. And that, of course, you can say it's media created, but it is helped by you give us the parameters for the narrative that is created.
Let me ask you this. This is a great question off all this. Let's say the Brooklyn Nets do win the championship this year. Let's say James Harden does get win. All that pressure's up. What happens to Giannis in Milwaukee? If you're Giannis in Milwaukee, you're sitting there saying, damn, Philadelphia got retooled.
I'll tell you what happens.
Ben Simmons, the Knicks are getting better. Like, Atlanta's gotten better. Like, the Nets are here. They're not going anywhere for a while. That's championships out. What happens?
I go find me another dude and maybe a coach.
Well,
I go find me one guy and a coach.
That's exactly. You want to talk about people have pressure on them? Mike Budenholzer.
I agree with you on that.
Right?
But
that's your first move.
That's your first move.
You a guy,
that's the first one. Yeah, I went to
find you one more guy. I don't know who that is, but you go get you another guy and a coach.
But I said this when Giannis signed his max deal, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're a hater." Of course you're. I said, "Okay, if you don't win one this year, how much longer will Milwaukee have Giannis? Because if you get rid of Bud, and then you bring in somebody else, and maybe you add somebody else, and you still don't do it." You start talking about 2 years, Giannis be like, what am I staying here for?
But then Giannis becomes that
villain.
No, not necessarily the villain.
Okay.
I guess not necessarily the villain. But I would say Giannis becomes somebody's 1B.
I hear you.
Because that's the way I feel about him anyway. I think he's a great talent. I like a lot of the stuff he does. He's long. He's
not a 1B. He's a 1A. You just need the pieces around him.
He's a 1B that needs a 1A to take it to the next level, because I don't think that he can win a championship if he doesn't have a 1A with him.
This is why I said he becomes a villain a little bit. Don't forget about when LeBron James left Cleveland. People burned his jersey.
But that was different, though, Jay.
Okay.
Think about how he left. People hated how he left. They just got mad because they felt like he set him up for failure.
You get drafted by Milwaukee. You're there with
Speaking of
Milwaukee.
markets, we saw it happen in Houston. Can you imagine? Aaron Rodgers leaves. Giannis leaves. Market madness today. We will discuss the Bay Area, like Green Bay and the Milwaukee. I mean, think about that market and what you have right now.
I mean, what's your window?
And what it could look like.
What would you say, Alan?
2 years. Christian Yelich, I think, right? Would be the big star.
Would you say Milwaukee for Giannis? You have a 2-year window?
Don't know. I don't know. This is a very interesting conversation. Like I said, we will talk a little more Milwaukee coming up later on in the show. It's Keyshawn, J. Will, Zubin. We are presented by Progressive's Home Insurance. Get your quote at progressive.com today.